What's up, everyone? Welcome to 3-Point Turn. I'm Andy, and if this is your first time joining my channel, welcome and thank you. 3-Point Turn is basically your automotive pit stop for all automotive news. I cover everything from JDM to KDM to domestic cars to German cars. Anything that I feel is newsworthy, is interesting, I cover it. So if you like what you see and what you hear, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification button. It'll help a lot. Thanks. So welcome to this episode. And yes, my hair is crazy. It's been a crazy week. It's been super hot. And I just don't really care to do my hair tonight. So for this episode, I'm going to cover one company. And I'm going to give you a little riddle. It's pretty simple. Okay? What do these things have in common? Korean barbecue, kimchi, Kim Jong-un, and a movie called The Interview. If you say Hyundai, you'll be correct. So today we'll be covering a lot of Hyundai news, which I found really interesting. So let's get right into it, yeah? The first thing is that we all know Hyundai has this car that's like a Prius competitor, right? It's called the IONIQ, right? Here's how it looks like. Hyundai is one of the only company that doesn't, it's just like Toyota. They don't have a full EV car. They have hydrogen. They have this IONIQ, which is hybrid or plug-in hybrid as well. But no EV car, like electric vehicle. And Hyundai acknowledges that in their home country, Korea, Tesla is just eating up market share, right? So Hyundai is gonna come up with its own version of electric vehicles. So they're actually coming with a new brand within Hyundai, and it's called IONIQ. So basically, any car that comes out with the brand IONIQ will have some sort of battery, EV, electric vehicle battery driven component to it. So no, there's nothing announced yet, but they're gonna be pushing it out in the near future. So it's gonna come out with 3 cars. It's gonna be IONIQ 5, IONIQ 6, and IONIQ 7. In the next 4 years, these cars will come out. So the U.S. market will still sell the IONIQ model. So how will Hyundai distinguish IONIQ model and IONIQ brand? Is that for the IONIQ model, it's going to be IONIQ plus whatever powertrain is going to be. So IONIQ plus hybrid, IONIQ plus plug-in hybrid. Okay. If it's just IONIQ, then that's the brand, right? Think of it as Genesis. Genesis is a brand of Hyundai. IONIQ will be a brand of Hyundai. And I'm not sure if this is gonna be coming out to the U.S. first. It could be just launching in Korea first. Coming in 2021, it will be the IONIQ 5. It's basically a small crossover, and it's based off the Hyundai 45 concept, which you see here. And the next one will be IONIQ 6. IONIQ 6 is actually one of the more exciting cars. It's like a sports car, sports sedan kind of thing. It's based off Hyundai's Prophecy concept, which you see here. It looks really aerodynamic, looks really sporty. It's very exciting. And IONIQ 7 is going to be a big SUV. Think of it as like a large, basically, Palisade, right? The Hyundai Palisade is probably be that size, but with the IONIQ branding and more of an EV structure to it. So all the IONIQ branded car will sit on Hyundai's new platform called the eGMP electric vehicle platform. So we're pretty excited to see what Hyundai is coming out with. Again, it's not every day you see a car company introduce new brand. Genesis was the last big brand that came out from a big OEM, and now they're going to expand on that with IONIQ. So I'm pretty excited to see what kind of Tesla competitors will be coming out from Hyundai. Next piece of news is that Hyundai is modifying their air conditioning systems in cars. So in their home market, they're developing these systems. So the first one is pretty neat. Currently in our vehicles, the air, whether it be heater or air conditioning or just the normal fan speed, comes out through the vents of the car, right? Typically, a normal car will have 4 in the front. 1 on the left corner, 2 in the middle, 1 on the right corner. So those are the vents. So Hyundai actually is inventing something where the entire dashboard will be this tiny holes. It'll be in itself a big vent. And with their research, they say that it actually gives you more coverage in the car and actually will cool down the car much quicker than your traditional single floor vents. The next thing is actually very helpful, I think, and I personally experienced this because my wife's car and my personal car, we both had to get it clean. So basically, when you turn on your air conditioning, over time, the condensation from the air conditioner gets stuck in the tubes, and and the condensation will produce bacteria, and that bacteria will make your AC unit and the vents really smelly, right? It'll be soury, it'll be smelly, it'll be musty, and the only way to fix it, you bring it to the dealership, they'll spray something called Ozium into the vent, and hopefully it'll kill the bacteria and freshen up the vents. So, but sometimes it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I mean, if your car is older or you're a person who drives with AC all the time and the condensation builds up, it just that ozone doesn't work, and you gotta get deep cleaning, right? Hyundai actually invented something which is really cool. In a nutshell, is basically a blower that sits next to the vents of the car. So when you turn off your car, the auxiliary battery will still power the blower, and that blower will blow just air straight into the vents to dry out any condensation it has to prevent mold or bacteria from growing, which I think is pretty genius, right? All right, another piece of Hyundai news. So we all know Genesis, right? Genesis is Hyundai's luxury arm. Think Lexus to Toyota, Acura to Honda, Infiniti to Nissan, right? Genesis is to Hyundai. So if that was an SAT question with those analogies, I would have aced it. But apparently they didn't, and I did not do so well in SAT. Anyways, I digress. Hyundai, Genesis. There were a lot of new vehicles from Hyundai, Genesis brand. And two of the newest vehicles coming out is the G80 and the GV80. Okay? So we all know the G90, which is the big sedan from Hyundai, Genesis, right? Sorry, I always keep saying Hyundai, but it's actually Genesis' own brand. So G80 is actually takes a lot of styling cues from the G90. So the G80 actually looks really good, and they finally released some details and some price and some packages. So I just want to go over those packages and information with you. So the G80 is a big sedan. Think about it as like a 5 Series size competitor. The shape is just a traditional 4-door sedan. There's a nice 14.5-inch touchscreen on the interior of the vehicle. So basically, a little history lesson. The G80 actually stemmed from the original Hyundai Genesis. We all remember that, right? The Hyundai Genesis, and then that kind of broken out to this new model of G80. And the good thing about these new Genesis coming out is that previously, the interior pieces was shared by Hyundai, right? With a lot of pieces from like Sonata or the Zera or the Santa Fe. But now, with these redesigns coming out, they actually have their own buttons, own switches that's exclusive to Genesis. So that's a step up. There's a new kind of a thumb wheel on the center console that's reminiscent of like an iPod controller, which is really unique. A little turning wheel. It looks very gorgeous inside. A lot of luxury touches, a lot of nice space. So the engine on the G80 comes in two trims. There's a 2.5 turbocharged engine that produces 300 horsepower or 310 pound-feet of torque, which I think is plenty for 90% of the people out there. With an 8-speed automatic. And yeah, you get it with a rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. There's a 3.5 liter turbocharged V6 that gives you 375 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque, and also comes with 8-speed automatic, as well as the all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. Pricing, it starts at around 48 grand for the rear-wheel drive 2.5 turbo, and the all-wheel drive starts around 52. So 48 and 52. A lot of standard equipment, right? 18-inch wheels, LED headlights, adaptive cruise control, 8-way power seats. And there's different packages you add on to it, right? With technology, advanced, weather, all that good stuff. But let's say you want the big engine, right? That the V6 turbo. That starts at $60,000 for a rear-wheel drive and $63,000 for the all-wheel drive. So you're jumping up around 13 grand, 12 grand for the bigger engine. That's significant. To be honest, I would just go for the turbo 4-cylinder. That's more than enough for a lot of people. All right, the next car we'll talk about is the Genesis. I always say Hyundai. I'm so sorry. Don't kill me, Hyundai or Genesis. All right, Genesis GV80. What is this? The GV80 is the SUV. Guys, you have no idea how important this vehicle is to Genesis brand. You know, SUVs, trucks are selling like hotcakes, right? Sedans, compact sport cars are not selling as well as those SUVs. So Genesis was desperately in need of an SUV in its lineup because it only had a G80 and only had a G90, right? But now the GV80 is here as an SUV, and this is what I feel will really propel the brand. So the design language is there, right? That kind of a horizontal pointy grille with the two stripe of the effort headlight that kind of continues onto the front fender that acts like signal lights, and then the back tail lights. This is actually a really nice SUV. I would drive this. This is a very gorgeous SUV. So it's not that big, but it's enough for majority of the people. It actually looks bigger than it actually is, which could be a good thing for a lot of people. There's actually some Bentley and Rolls Royce vibe to it. It's not a bad thing. It's not a copy, but there are definitely some of those vibe to it. So this GV80 shares the same platform as the G80, the one we just talked about. It competes with Lexus, BMW, Mercedes, and this is really nice actually. Interior, wow. The horsepower is not out yet, but it does use the same engine and engine option as a G80. I have a feeling it's going to be just a little bit more than what the G80 offers, simply due because this is an SUV that has more weight and needs more power pulled around. Again, inside has all the amenities you want. It has a 14.5 touchscreen just like the G80, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, high quality switch gears. It has that little iPod thumb wheel. It's quite nice. 7-seater. Even and look at pictures. Even the third row seems comfortable, and that's rare, right? Usually SUVs, the third row is like the afterthought. It actually looks pretty inviting in the GV80. Looks pretty roomy as well. So pricing, the GV80 starts around 50 grand for the base rear-wheel drive 2.5 turbo model, and then the all-wheel drive kicks it to $55,000. $5,000 more for all-wheel drive, but there's actually more equipment from that jump to all-wheel drive than the jump from a rear-wheel drive to all-wheel drive G80. You have your standard equipment like 19-inch wheels. 19-inch wheels are standard. LED headlights. They have an option for 22-inch wheels. Dub. I mean, the stuff in here, the listing is like what you'll find in like an LX for a Lexus, right? Not even RX, the LX, or even like the X7, right? Yeah, it competes in the price range of the younger, the smaller ones, like the X5 or RX. Hyundai, Genesis, Kia, they're always known for value. You could get so much more features, so much more values for much lower cost than its competitor. So, again, I'm really excited about this car. I have a family. This will be perfect. The more I look at it, the more I like it. All right. So that's the update this week on basically Hyundai and Genesis news. I'm pretty excited. I usually cover Toyota and Hondas, but I want to switch gear a little bit and cover Hyundai. Used to work at Hyundai, so Hyundai is close to my heart. So it's a good company, and I'm really excited to see what they're pushing out. All right, so that's it for this week. If you like what you see, please make sure you hit subscribe. Hit the bell notification button. If you want to follow me on Instagram, here's my Instagram handle at 3PointTurn. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for the support, and I will see you next week.